sent me a new video. Important message. Let's have a look here. Who is it? Not this guy again. Okay, let's hear what the genius has to say. I'm gonna need my shill hat for this one, I'm afraid. Let's bring it on.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's September 19th, 2020. Can we have a serious talk, serious discussion? I was thinking about Earth and its beginnings. And what we were taught of how a planet comes to existence over billions and billions of years, and the fascination of it and how delicate it is. What things that I've noticed and the bullshit that I have learned. We were told. Well, we all were, because all of our schools are exactly the same. They teach exactly the same thing at the same time.
All right, here goes. Chris, why would they teach different people in different schools different things if the fact is the same? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Thus that rainbow video that I did. I started seeing rainbows in every house, painted on rocks. I was like, what the fuck is all of this stuff? And then I finally figured it out, that the schools, it's just like the news. They talk about the same fucking thing over and over again on the same channel at the same time. Every news channel is playing. Yeah, flip the channel in your state and you'll see.
Okay, we're going to have to go back to basics with this dude again. The reason news channels show the same thing at the same time is because it's a thing called breaking news. If a big news event comes on and CNN breaks that news, Fox aren't going to look at that news and go, oh, sorry, we can't cover that because CNN already have. Let's just go, look at some otters cuddling or some stupid shit. Why would news channels be showing different things? It's the news. It's what's happening right then. That's why we have the news. Imagine having to explain this to this human toilet brush over here.
People have done videos on it. It's so obvious now. If people can't even see that, then you better put a face mask on. You better hunker down because stage 2 is coming. I don't want to get into that shit. Anyway. So, we're formed from this rock spinning around. I don't know. It was formed at the beginning of when the sun formed, I guess. Right? So this rock is just out there by itself, and there are other rocks that are out there too, and one decides to get a little bigger and starts attracting the other rocks. And then this amazing friction starts happening, and more rocks join the crowd, and thus forming this ball. And then all of a sudden, because of the friction, molten lava just appears out of nowhere.
All of a sudden? Where are you getting all of a sudden from? How about billions of years? All of a sudden. Like, nobody claims that the Earth just sprang into existence and animals frolicked around on this newly formed planet. Oh, man.
Okay? That's what's holding the core together. That's what's holding the gravity together. So the gravity gets bigger and bigger and bigger because the object's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it keeps rotating quicker and quicker, faster and faster. It's gathering more rocks. It's gathering more rocks. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's turning into a planet. Holy shit! What are we gonna do? And then all of a sudden, bam! Trees start to grow. Atmosphere starts to begin. And the vacuum of space is no longer a problem.
Again, all of a sudden, the planet existed and then trees... Mrs. Demon, this guy says that the Earth sprung into existence, and then trees just shot up on the planet. I know. Should call him an idiot. How about that? Mrs. Demon and Mrs. CC both called you an idiot. Consensus, perhaps.
So how do trees grow without air? How does that happen? Where does the air come from? I guess when the friction of the rocks and then all of a sudden the molten lava comes? That might be it. That might be how air comes. Because trees can't grow without air. It's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Come on, scientists, make up your fucking minds.
Okay, so scientific proof here. I just ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you know. But seriously though, the egg did come first because of evolution. The scientists did make up their minds.
Oh my lord. I can't believe what they taught this. I can't believe what they taught us. I can't believe we bought it all. Although I don't actually remember. Yeah, maybe. I don't actually remember the science teacher actually explaining how exactly a planet is formed.
That's probably because you were at the back of the class looking out the window. Not that your science teacher didn't actually explain that.
Because I think there'd be some questions. I don't know, I could be wrong, it was a long time ago. But anyway. So that's how a planet's formed. It's great. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. It's all nonsense. It's a flat earth you live on.
So all the evidence ever from every scientist ever is bullshit. It's all lies. Because this guy says so. Okay, champ. Got it.
Alright? That's it. Bottom line. We're covered with a dome. Space is fake. It doesn't exist. It's bullshit.
As I've asked Daniel Pratt and other flat earthers, and all of you have failed to do it, prove it. Anything. Give us a picture. Anything.
Alright? The NASA astronauts are going absolutely nowhere. Where does the vacuum of space actually begin? I don't remember learning that in school. Where does it begin? Where does the bleeding space begin?
Well, it is a pressure gradient, so it slowly gets into a vacuum. The kind of standard accepted distance is 100 kilometers, which is known as the Kármán line. I certainly learned that in school. You are a few years older than me, but I don't think it's really changed since about the 1950s, where being at, I think, about 60,000 meters was roughly considered the edge of space. Those early high-altitude pilots were known as spacemen, not necessarily astronauts, but some of them were known as spacemen. So, there's a thing called Google, and that will immediately tell you where the Kármán line is. In fact, there's a really handy-dandy little graphic that they show you for children. So yeah, check that out. Perhaps that might help. And I'm pretty sure most people learn that in school. This is twice that there's been things that are obviously taught in school that you obviously didn't absorb. I wonder why.
Thus, the planet should be able to clean itself, don't you think? If we weren't contained, because air should be able to escape at some point into space. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, actually it does. Very small amounts of atmospheric air does actually leach out into space. Again, it's a pressure gradient, so it's kind of pushing out and out and out. Earth's gravity is what keeps everything on the Earth, including the atmosphere. Each particle of the atmosphere is accelerating towards the ground at all times. Again, this is completely demonstrable. In fact, the very fact that we have a pressure gradient proves that. We can't have a pressure gradient if we lived under a dome. It doesn't work that way.
And that's exactly why these combustible engines, there's 8 billion of them. You don't think it's going to change weather? 24 hours a day these things are going, these little furnaces. Holy shit. So where does a vacuum of space begin? And what happens to air when somebody punches a hole into it? Well, it gets sucked out. It escapes. It disappears. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, how do you get to that? What do you mean when somebody punches a hole through it? Punches a hole through what? As you move through the atmosphere, the particles of the atmosphere go around you. You know, like when you move your arm. Like, what am I missing here? What are you actually trying to get to? You're making zero sense, like, at all. Like, not even on the spectrum of sense.
We've shown tankers, oil tankers. When we put them in a vacuum, they crush like a tin can, like aluminum. That's what happens when a hole is punched when you're in space.
That's not right. That's not even wrong. I'm going to assume because he's talked about it before, he's talking about that very famous video. I think it was on some TV show or whatever, where they had a train line oil tanker, and they essentially made a vacuum inside it, and it went like, boom. It's really, really cool. It's not in a vacuum. A vacuum is in it.
You can't put your fucking finger over it. You can't put a stick of gum over it. Don't worry about it. Just get some gum. Don't worry about it. We'll patch it up tomorrow. I'm kind of tired. Give me a soda too. That Tang? Yeah, that Tang. I want some of that shit. Right, my ass. Okay? My ass. You believe in this ISS up there? They're fooling you. They're playing with you to a point where they're saying that there's a hole in the ISS. They're fucking with you. They're seeing how stupid you are, and everybody falls for it. Nobody questions it. Nobody does their research. Nobody does shit. Nobody. Why would they? It's too scary, right? Why look into something like this? My God, it might flip your mind that you finally found out that the Earth is flat. You finally found out that we're not moving. You finally found out that we're stationary. We're covered with a dome. You finally found out that if that's absolutely true, which it is, that would mean there is no space. That NASA is a lie. That everything that they do is a lie. Everything that goes on is a lie. My God, that blows a lot of people's minds. Some people can't handle it, and they won't. They never will. But the truth is eventually going to come out. That's why they're doing all of this. What do you think, this is real? You think this is real? You think there's a virus out there that if you don't wear a face mask...
Whoa. Okay, I'm just going to have to stop you there, bucko. It's one thing to talk about NASA and stuff like that doesn't really matter whether you believe it or not. I'm not going to entertain your fucking COVID bullshit. It's just not going to sit with me. I'm not going to get into it right now. Wear your masks, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to, because these guys are just too stupid. Team killers, that's all they are.
What happens to, how does a spacesuit work? How can a spacesuit not blow up like a balloon in space? Like the Marshmallow Man. That's what they would look like. Your hands wouldn't be mobile. You wouldn't be able to sit there and start screwing shit in the middle of space. They're screwing you.
It's like he reminds me of my 6-year-old nephew. Why do dogs have 4 legs? Why do cats like to chase mice? Why is that car red? This is what it sounds like. So, ever heard of a U-2 fighter plane? Oh, it's not a fighter plane, sorry, U-2 spy plane. They go up right up into the edge of space, essentially. And they use spacesuits in those aircraft, along with other very high-altitude aircraft, some of the Russian aircraft, for example. They use actual spacesuits for that. And guess what happens if that spacesuit fails? Sadly, the pilot would die. Likewise with anybody on the ISS. Now, when you talk about spacesuits, I am guessing you mean EVA suits, extravehicular activity suits, which are the big white suits with the big backpacks, etc. Essentially, each one of those suits is actually a miniature spacecraft. So it's designed to withstand the outside of the ISS, for example. Shock horror that they might actually design something fit for purpose. Oh man, like, why wouldn't it work in space? He said it would blow up. It's not a balloon. It's not a rubber gimp suit. It's a very highly engineered piece of equipment. It is a small spacecraft. And it is also pressurized inside the suit. You say about the mobility of astronauts, if you did a tiny bit of research, you would realize that they're actually terribly immobile. If you ever see an astronaut try to use their fingers, it's extremely difficult. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of concentration. That's why they make these big clunky looking tools that are actually quite easy to use, because astronauts can't use their fine motor skills. Just research it. What is it? Like, you people always say, oh, you gotta research, you gotta do your own research, and never do any research. Go look at using a NASA glove and see what you find. I just pull that out of my ass. It's not that hard.
Oh man, I remember what my first videos that I came across, the wobbly door in space. That was the funniest. I'm trying to find it. I can't seem to find it. You see them in the space station or whatever the fuck they were doing. Who knows? And it's just wobbly door opening up and closing. Doesn't need to be sealed. Who the fuck cares? We're in a submarine anyway. Don't worry about it. Put some screen doors on it. You don't need a steel door. Why? It's only the vacuum of space.
Again, a tiny bit of research would have answered this question for you. It's not that difficult. You can actually go and get the plans for the ISS. You can see the ISS literally millimeter by millimeter. If you looked at the EVA portion of the vehicle, you would see that there is the inner airlock door. Behind that airlock door is the airlock, which is constantly pressurized while the astronauts are inside the craft. Then they put the astronauts in their EVA suits, put them into the airlock, close the inner airlock door, and then depressurize the airlock. Then they open the outer airlock door, and they egress into another little tube, and on top of that tube is a thermal cover, which is made out of similar material to a spacesuit. It does not need to be able to hold in atmosphere. It's not pressurized at any time whatsoever. It is literally a thermal shield. That is all it is. Why is it made out of canvas and not a solid thermal shield? Because it needs to be really easy for the astronauts to open. It's actually not even that important. If, for example, it got knocked off and disappeared out into space, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It is literally just a precaution that they have it there. If you look at it, it is actually quite damaged, and that is because of thermal radiation. So again, a little bit of research would have told you this. It's not that difficult at all. You seem to have this hate boner for the ISS. Go research the ISS. Show us why it's fake.
How's Tesla doing? How's his car doing? Still in mint condition, I bet, right? Paint's perfect. Windshield isn't cracked or anything like that. It isn't being pummeled with micrometeors, and the tires haven't exploded yet, right? Oh yeah, it's shiny, nice, it's perfect. Oh my.
All right, and from here he goes on a rant about the pandemic, and he goes on about the current happenings in the United States political system. I have to be very careful how I word that, because YouTube just recently said that if anybody talked about that current thing that's going on between two old white guys in the United States, and they didn't like it, that they would nuke your channel. So I'm not mentioning that competition. That I hope we all know what I'm talking about. Rhymes with schmishmection, or erection, actually. Anyway, he was talking about Tesla. So he was saying about the car. So if you don't know what that's about, it was when they launched Falcon Heavy. They put a Tesla Roadster on top of it and sent it out in orbit around the sun. Now, he asked if the tires exploded. They didn't have tires on it as such, not tires as we know it. They were actually a solid article. I believe they were made out of carbon fiber, if I remember correctly. The paint would almost certainly be completely gone now. The windshield could be severely damaged by now. And it would just be a bleached mess. It would be unrecognizable. The plastics would probably all be destroyed, etc., etc. There was a fantastic video. I don't recall who it was by, and I'm too lazy to go and check. Just look it up. A video about where the Roadster is now and what it would look like. I think it might have been Wendover or Curious Droid or one of those awesome creators. Again, just a brief bit of looking into it. Not even really research. Just a... oh yeah, that's the situation. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. It's like what we all do all the time. Anyway, lads and lassies, I want to say thank you so much to everybody for your support over the past 6 months building my channel. I'm absolutely roaring towards 2,000 subscribers. I am nearly there, and I'm so excited. But here's the thing. I want this channel to do well. I love making these videos. It's something that I've just enjoyed so much, and I've been putting out countless videos, sometimes multiple times a day. I don't think I've missed a day in a long, long time. It does take a lot of work. It takes a few hours to edit and get all of the information, research, find videos to make, come up with ideas. There is a lot of effort into it. And so all I would ask in return is that you guys hit the like button just to help me out. It helps the channel, helps the algorithm. Definitely a really big thing that you can do to help my channel is just leave a comment down below. Could be anything, just saying hello or anything. Again, it really does help. That engagement is super important. And it doesn't cost a penny, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys could do that. If you want to help the channel any other way, you could consider becoming a Patreon for as little as $1 a month. There's a link in the description down below. Or you could become a channel member. I'm not sure how much that costs. It's not very much, but I've got about 30 channel members now, so I'd love some more to join the ranks and help me get this show on the road. The reason I'm pushing to try to build this channel as well, I have started another channel. I'll link it in the description down below. And essentially it's going to be my travel vlog. So because of the pandemic, I can't really go anywhere just now, but I am going to start taking you guys to some of the weird and wonderful places first around here in Western Australia, and then once things start to open up, I'm going to start doing 24-hour trips all over the world. So my plan is jump on a plane, go to, let's say, Bangkok, and stay there for 24 hours and 24 hours only, and see how much I can jam pack into 24 hours and then fly straight back home. And I want to try do that for places all over the world. That's my goal. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long, long time. So if you want to help make that happen, definitely consider becoming a Patreon. I will probably do a fundraiser at some stage.